Mr. Fred sucks. Okay, let me put this another way. The bloat sucks. But it doesn't suck for the same reason Mr. Fred sucks. The bloat is unfair in many ways and has a very limited range for the player to have fun on, so they have to constantly maneuver around it. And then there's Mr. Fred. Now, the bloat and Mr. Fred are both 4th floor boss. The bloat is infamous for its unfairness, even on floor 4, where you've already gained up to 6 or 5 boss items and a minimum of like 2 to 4 treasure room items, and like probably a deal with the devil or a shop item. And then there's Mr. Fred, who's literally infamous. It's not famous, it's not known, you barely see anyone talk about it, and I think any other boss is talked about more than this one. Adversary, the Husk even. You know, that guy? Everyone forgets that guy, but I like it. Mr. Fred is worse. It's such a boring design, and if it had like 2/5 of what its HP is right now, it could very well be a normal room, or maybe a mini-boss on the 2nd or 1st floor. And yo, just to showcase this, I had to do it on an actual room level. I tried making a mod specifically for this, designing, respriting and everything. Just like trying to make a Mr. Fred variation. Didn't work. Good thing I'm not a Lua coder, you know? And here's what I did. I teleported myself to the room via console. I had myself 5 boss items, like I said, 2 treasure room items, and 1 shop item. And I just spawned Mr. Fred. And on a 2-sized room, because all his rooms are double-sized. And look at this. I'm just standing in place. You can just find the perfect blind spot, because why not? All of his attacks are bland and boring. He can shoot in 8 directions like, you know, a basement enemy does, or shoot slightly bigger and just disable a cross. And it's really not that big of a range if you're on a 2-sized room. And the only thing it does, it just limits the fun way to attack this enemy in. And it leaves us a huge face for a bomb that basically is like, what, 7th of his HP? And the splash size of this tier is enormous. Yes, I can learn it, but here, I can just, this is a sweet spot, basically. It also kills all the Freddles that it spawns. It just takes 5 hits to kill those. So all of them almost survive. It's such a simple boss, and the sweet spot is based on if you're standing perfectly. It's not even that much range that I have right now. It's like 10 more than usual, which is not hard to get. There's so many trash range items in the game. It's hard to not find any. And that's it. Here you go. I just beat Mr. Fred without really trying to. Why? Because it's simple. It shoots in 8 directions, or does a show-offy shot in 4 directions, spawns little Freds. And that's it. So what can we really do to improve this? Well, let's try this. Let me just put all the homunculuses that he does spawn with. There are actually homunculuses attached to 4 attached to the walls on every Mr. Fred room, and you can just kill all of them when you start just the room. So let's make a little layout and make a maze for them so they're not instantaneous. Now, I only put 3 exits, and yes, this is an L-shaped boss room. This is like one of the few bosses that can work with this idea. Also, notice the little corridor right there? Yeah, pay attention. Okay, I'm gonna put Mr. Fred there, and all the homunculus are perfect. I'm covering up a problematic part with room design, and just putting some simple obstacles for when you enter. And so the thing is, the attack, one of Mr. Fred's attack is release 2 random homunculuses from the walls. And if you just kill all of them when you enter, it doesn't do that. It's one of the most threatening attacks. Or activate something that you can just kill while it's immobile when you start a room. So let's test this. So, okay, I booted up. Also, don't ask why it's in the basement. That's one of the effects of the room editor. You can't really test boss rooms outside the basement. So, you have this scarred gut it's kind of confusing you for a while. Remember, all rocks are supposed to be red. It's really nice, real fun. And then, yo, it's Fred. Like, it doesn't always spawn there, but probably by now there's a Fred there. Also, notice in the corner, yeah, that's why I had to cover it with rocks. It's a bit janky, but boom, now you see Mr. Fred. You have these two guts protecting it. One of my favorite thing about, also, yeah, awful hit there. Now, this black heart, I'm going to show you guys later why it disabled an integral part of the room design. But hey, that happens sometimes. So, boom, this corridor I was talking about earlier completely disables passage if you try to go down there. And leaves you very, very vulnerable to the homunculus attack I showed earlier. So, Mr. Fred, still here, like, blocking a lot of the entrances, but you can still find some sweet spot. With everything else on, it's still pretty hard, but the best part now, the Freds that quickly go away, and it's hard to kill them as they spawn with this layout, start blowing up some of the room. They actually serve a section. They have a purpose. The room is built to be destroyed. I'm gonna add some bomb rocks if I ever have this room in an actual mod. So you just now have a perfectly tuned boss room for Mr. Fred, and it's gigantic and it's threatening. And again, you can kind of stand here, but remember, usually there's tons of homunculuses, really threatening over you, and it's one of the best fights, and probably I had against a womb boss, and probably the best Mr. Fred fight I ever had. Now, if we jump over to another testing session at the homunculuses to work in, we start seeing how crazy this room can get. Luckily, I got God's Flash, but look, also, all the nerve endings can actually have a much longer range than I thought they had, but they perfectly cover up that area as well. Basically, you can't come close to Mr. Fred until you realize you need to let the Freds start exploding the room. Boom. See? Now you have this corner for you. Well, almost. You start blowing it up yourself, and you realize how important that is. Now, you've just seen the Mr. Fred attack by yourself. The one where he explodes all the enemies. The one where he rips the rope. And it's crazy. These homunculuses add so much challenge. And remember, this is just random items. It's on a better run, I wouldn't only have like 6 items. So yeah, that's basically gonna be it. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been a blast to make. Yeah, as I don't really regret anything I've said except the joke about the husk. Please appreciate the husk. But I do not mean, like, I don't like Mr. Fred. It's a bad design for a boss. Please, like, if there's any way you can mod it to be more interesting, more Harlequin, fetus based, anything, just have faith in the community to make it an actual good boss. I have faith. It's a good design. It's really big, and it's monster spawning, and it's just so disappointing. So yeah, that's how I'm gonna wrap off this video. It's kind of short, but hey, I promised more post-edited for rough stuff, and I think I did a really good job. Yeah, next video I think I'm gonna showcase a little bit of if not a live run. You can always see me live on my live streams every weekend. Just ring the little bell if you want, and or just subscribe. It'll probably notify you. And yeah, thank you all a lot for watching. But more for rough, well-edited stuff in the future. I hope if I have more time. School is finally running low on things. It's trying to give us homework too, so you know it's the end of the year. Alright, thank you all for watching. I was Boogie Win. Bye bye.